It is a beautiful January day here on the Talk Yours podcast. We've been away for a minute, but we're back and we're better than ever. Eder. We just got to go with it now. Only one take. We figured today, why not do some All-Star predictions? We're about a month out from the All-Star break itself. Been a crazy season for figuring out who's going to be an All-Star. So many guys are putting up big numbers, and somebody's favorite player is getting left off the list. Now, just to be clear, me and Corby both picked guys that we believe deserve to be All-Stars. This is who we would pick. This is not a prediction for who is going to be an All-Star. Obviously, there's other narratives and things like that that drive All-Star voting, but these are the guys that we believe deserve to be All-Stars at this point in the season. And without any further ado, in honor of the founding fathers, we're going to be starting with the East today. So Corby, give me your number one guy out of the East for your starters. We're going to go starters, bench, and then we'll give a couple injured reserves at the end.
I think the number one MVP of the East that has to be the captain. I don't know how the captain thing works this year, because isn't it like American versus international? Or
I have no idea how it's going to work. So again,
I want to be surprised, honestly. I don't even want to read into it.
There's a lot that goes into it, but we're just doing strictly East and Wests. So
the All-Star game changes every single year somehow. How every single year it changes?
Because it never works. I mean, not to get off on a tangent about it, but the All-Star game has been completely devoid of energy for really since the year Kobe died. Honestly, that was the last All-Star game. And no, there was a couple after that with the team format. I don't understand why they just went away from it when they had like one or two bad years.
Yeah.
So we'll see. We'll see what happens. I don't know that it's necessarily going to be more competitive because it's world versus USA.
It's a whole nother topic, but it's because people were so bad at drafting versus LeBron, who was great at drafting. That's why. It worked. It literally worked. I'm not going to talk about it, but it literally worked.
Just make a 1v1 tournament. Just make a 1v1.
My MVP of the East is Jaylen Brown. I feel like he is the most guaranteed All-Star out of any player because of not only, how the Celtics are winning, which you'll see how much each of us value winning versus stats and all that kind of stuff, but he's averaging 30 points per game. He's been an elite defender this season. Playmaking wise, he's taken a step. I mean, he's actually been creating for himself consistently. I think I talked about this before, but like his points per game has gone up 8 points per game versus last season, but his 3-point attempts have been the exact same, meaning he is literally just getting to his spots more. Yeah, Jaylen Brown, easily an All-Star. Do you have him as an All-Star?
Jaylen Brown is an All-Star, and Jaylen Brown is an All-Star starter for me. He is not my number one guy out of the East, but all due respect to Jaylen Brown, he has had an incredible year, definitely dispelling any thoughts of him being a 1B at best kind of guy. This is a 1A kind of guy, and the Celtics, when they get Jason Tatum back, it'll be interesting to see how they balance their minutes and their touches, because before it was definitive. Jason Tatum was the number one guy, and he was the guy getting a majority of the touches. But now Jaylen Brown playing the way he's playing, what do you look at? I mean, you were successful with Jaylen Brown in that lesser role. Does he feel comfortable going back to that? Does he expect to be the number one guy when Tatum comes back? Very interesting things. But yeah, Jaylen Brown has had an incredible year, and probably between availability and performance, the best individual year in the East. But I'm giving the number one spot to Cade Cunningham, and that is simply because best player on the best team in the East. That has been the best team in the East for pretty much the entire season. Cade is averaging a little bit less scoring-wise, about 26 a game, but he's averaging almost 10 assists. He essentially is the offense for them. He plays a very similar role to the one that Shea plays in OKC, except he's looking to pass a little bit more than he's looking to score. And I think in spite of the fact that you could argue that roster up and down is better roster than the Celtics, which it probably is. I mean, it almost certainly is. Yeah. I still think Cade Cunningham is the offensive engine of that roster, much in the same way that Shea is for the Thunder. And I believe that for that reason and for their team success, he deserves to be the number one player in the East.
Yeah, I have him as an All-Star and an All-Star starter. He's been very good. You already said everything. I don't have to say anything else.
Yep.
My third starter was Giannis Antetokounmpo. I know he doesn't have the games played that everyone else does, but he is having the most efficient by far season of his whole career, shooting 64% from the field, averaging 29, 30 points per game. He's still getting rebounds. He's getting assists. And when he's on the court, they are winning. When he's off the court, the Bucks are losing. It's as simple as that. Even though everyone else who could debatably be a starter has played more games, Giannis's impact in his 21, 22 games has been amazing.
I agree. It's Giannis. Can't say much more than that. I also have him as an All-Star and an All-Star starter. He's my fifth guy. And the reasoning for that is simply because of the games played. I don't think he'll gain or garner as many votes as some of these other guys, but he's putting up the best numbers in the East this year. My number two guy, which I think you said number three. So I'm going to go with my number two guy next, then you can do your number two. And my number three was Jaylen Brown.
I mean, after the first one, I'm not really numbering them. I did.
Oh,
just
you
kinda,
don't. You're just kind of going how you go.
It's not like
All
an
right.
official. Like I just wanted to say him next. Yeah.
Well, then, yeah, my next guy, I'm gonna say, since we just gave Giannis his credit, I'm gonna go with Tyrese Maxey. I know people give their flowers to Austin Reeves and what he's done this season, and we might get to talking about him later. But you want to talk about a guy taking a jump. Tyrese Maxey took a jump, and you could say he's just getting more opportunities. You could say that he's getting more shots with Embiid moving out of that primary scorer role. But Tyrese Maxey has filled that and been more efficient. And he's also been a better playmaker. He's doing essentially everything the Sixers are asking of him in the point guard role. He has ascended from the level of, all-star level player and borderline star to now borderline superstar with all NBA seemingly written in his future for this season. And I think Tyrese Maxey, for that reason, definitely deserves to be an all-star starter. He's been absolutely incredible. One of my favorite players to watch this year.
Yeah, I agree. All I have to say is he literally has improved every single season. He has an argument for most improved player of the year award every single season. He even talked about on a podcast how he shouldn't have even won the most improved player award in the year he won it, but he should have won it the year before. And that just sparkles into a whole different debate. But Maxey's great. My last starter could be controversial because of how good the other player is, but I'm going Donovan Mitchell. He's having a career year, averaging 29, 30 points per game. He has been very, very efficient. And it just kind of sucks that the Cavs have been kind of a mess this season with Mobley missing games, Garland missing games, Jared Allen missing games, even like a Jalen Tyson has missed a couple games. Like the Cavs have been a mess in general, but the only player who has been truly consistent, especially at least on offense, has been Donovan Mitchell.
Corby? We have the same all-star starters.
Okay, let's
So
go.
for whoever's going to come at us for the Jalen Brunson not being an all-star starter,
We're
at least
still
in
going to
this
give
together.
Jalen Brunson his credit.
I'll give Jalen Brunson his credit, but Donovan Mitchell, man, I know the team success isn't there with the Cavs. You could argue that he's not contributing and winning as much, but just straight up, that dude has been hooping on another level this season. He's on that Tyrese Maxey level so far this year, and he's actually been just as efficient of a scorer as Maxey, if not a little bit more inside the three-point line. Donovan Mitchell is one of those guys who, unfortunately, it doesn't always seem like his game itself translates to winning teams, but that doesn't seem to be by fault of his own, really. He's a playoff elevator. He's an incredible scorer. He's one of the best 6'2" players in terms of scoring the ball that we've ever seen. Just an incredible season, 30 points per game on borderline 50, 40, 90. I don't know if his free throw's that high, but I know his shooting percentage and his three-point percentage is that high. A steal and a half, great player.
And then we did miss out on Jalen Brunson being a starter, but he is a guaranteed all-star. And by the way, he will be an all-star starter. And I'm going to say he deserves to be it. It's just that there's too many spots. But voting-wise, I mean, you talked about team success-wise, like he'll definitely be a starter. So don't get all in your feelings. Jalen Brunson's been amazing, averaging probably around 27, 28 points per game.
I think he's averaging higher than that, honestly.
It might be
I just
29.
checked right now. He is averaging 29.
29. And he also has been just as efficient as a Mitchell, as them.
Look, I mean, the East right now has better guards than the West. I mean, you talk about Maxey, Mitchell, Cade, Brunson. That's four guys right there that are all NBA guys. Yeah, Brunson's been great. And if, he was in the West and we were going by, guards or whatever, maybe he'd have a chance. Maybe he wouldn't. Who knows? Just a quick throw it out there. I know we were a little confused about this. There is no more, the All-Star game is positionless, so there's no more there has to be two guards, two forwards, one center in the starting lineup. I know they changed that a lot too, so we were a little confused about that. Just wanted to let you know.
But yeah, we both started three guards. Okay, so we have the six, all of our starters plus Jalen Brunson. Who's the next guy, Cam?
Now, my number 7. There are guys that some people might say earned it more. There are some guys that people might say have been more consistent. There are some guys that I dare say you could argue make a bigger impact on the game in other ways. But now, let me tell you, there are not any other guys on this entire list that might be as fun to watch as this guy. And that is one, Mr. Michael Porter Jr. of the Brooklyn Nets. That's my next guy for my all-star team. Because when you want to talk about a scorer, a guy that can get you a bucket in a game that's about a bucket, there might not be a better player in the league than Michael Porter Jr. 6'10", can shoot over you, has a handle, doesn't even see the contest. It doesn't even matter if you're there. It doesn't even matter if you're in front of him. It doesn't matter if your hand is right next to the ball because he cannot see you. Michael Porter Jr. is an all-star this year, undebatably. He's one of the guys, actually, because as you get down towards this list, there's a lot to be debated in the East. He's one of the guys that I feel like is an undebatable all-star. I mean, his averages this season are 26, 7 and 3, or 8 and 3. So again, getting rebounds, not getting assists. It's Michael Porter Jr. What do you expect? But he's doing this on 50, 40, 83. And he's doing this on some of the toughest shots you will ever see a guy take. I mean, if you showed someone clips of Michael Porter Jr. from this season, they'd be like, damn, they let T-Mac back in the league? Like, this dude does not miss contested shots. He might miss wide open ones more than he missed contested shots.
I mean, I wouldn't even say all that because he either makes the most contested shot ever or somehow gets a wide open look, because he's actually been pretty good at creating, not only for himself, but he's been running the break a lot, which I didn't see too much in Denver. I feel like everyone else ran the break and he was kind of the guy who stayed back, but his volume and his efficiency have been crazy. I agree with you. He is one of my 8 locks. So far we've already said 7 of them. I'm going to go ahead and unbiasedly say my last lock, and that's going to be Jalen Johnson. He has been absolutely amazing. His scoring volume's gone up, but most importantly, his playmaking has been great with Trae Young out of the lineup, or even in the lineup. He's still getting the assists. His rebounds have been great with Porzingis missing most of the season, so it's just been him and Onyeka. And overall, I mean, you're always going to hear me kind of bitch about how bad his defense has been, but even with that being said, he is an obvious all-star with how much offensive pressure he's had on his shoulders versus like any other guy.
I agree for sure. Jalen Johnson is my last lock as well. Great player. I do want to say, though, saying that you bitch about his defense is an understatement. The number of times that this dude has called Jalen Johnson a cone this year, I swear every time we talk about him, he calls him a cone. Like, to you, Jalen Johnson and Trae are the 2 cones.
It's because
the
last couple years he was such a good defender that like I'm actually watching with my jaw open in awe of how bad he's been this season. And by the way, we're not going to get into a tangent, but LeBron James on his podcast compared Jalen Johnson this season to Scottie Pippen. Yeah, we're not doing that. We're talking about he can guard 1 through 5. His words. He can guard 1 through 5.
Now, I would agree that he can, but it's more that does he.
Yeah.
I think he has all the potential in the world to do it. Sometimes it is just a matter of what you're focused on, because he is in the stages of his career where he's growing as a player. It's hard to be an elite defender while also trying to grow your offensive game in that way, especially with the jump he's taken playmaking wise. Yeah. So I would just hope that next year, as he gets more comfortable with the skill set he's acquired, that he would focus more on defense. And I think he will. I don't think he's a guy that you'll have to worry about that long term.
I mean, I'd hope, because he's not a number 1 scoring guy. When we get AJ Dybala, when do we get him? Oh yeah, Jalen Johnson is going to be back to an elite defender. I can't wait. Yeah. So yeah, who is? So these are all my locks. I don't know if you had any.
That was all
locks.
my locks. I don't have any more guys that I consider locks, honestly. Once you get past this point, you have guys that I feel like should be all-stars, but that's going to depend on a lot of factors. It's going to depend on fan voting. It's going to depend on what analysts think. So my next guy that I have up that I think should be an all-star is not a guy that maybe many people would have in this spot, but that is Scottie Barnes. And Scottie Barnes hasn't taken the numbers jump that many people would hopefully, or not hopefully, but would expect of him, or maybe think he would. But what he has done is he's been so much more of a winning player this season. I feel like he has people have stopped having that expectation of him to be the number 1 scorer. It's definitely Brandon Ingram on that team. But what he does is everything else. He rebounds. He defends at a high level. He gets assists. He's been efficient. He's shooting 50, 36, 80 or something like that.
35. Yeah, just around there though.
Yeah. So he's having a really good year. He defends at a high level. This is very reminiscent of a Draymond Green in certain years, though I won't necessarily give him quite that level of defensive credit, because Draymond Green in his peak was the best defender in the NBA. But what I will give Scottie Barnes for credit is that he's a better offensive player than Draymond Green. And I think he deserves credit via an all-star selection, not just for his own success, but for the Raptors' success. They're 5th in the East. They've been pretty good this year. And Scottie's a big part of that, even if the numbers don't show that.
Yeah. Just by the way, career high in rebounds per game, easily a career high in efficiency. He's actually shooting 8% effective field goal percentage better than last year, which is a huge jump, and then 2% higher than his peak, 19 points per game. He's been doing everything. He's also an all-star for me. I actually, from now on, I kind of do have it ordered in how much I actually think they're an all-star versus not. And he wasn't the next guy up, but he was the guy after that.
Yeah.
So let's go to the next guy up, a guy that I don't know if you had as an all-star because we talked about it a little bit before and you were pretty hesitant on him. I'm going Norman Powell. 24 points per game. He has been super efficient, 4 rebounds, 3 assists. He hasn't been doing much but scoring, but his scoring has been so good for a team that needs it that I have to give it to him. He's playing even better, in my opinion, than he did last year. And last year was a surprising jump where some people had him as an all-star last year, or at least up until like January. I feel like in January he did kind of have a decline last year, and that's why he didn't make it. But overall, he's been consistent. He's been the Heat's best player. I mean, Tyler Hero is probably a better player, but he hasn't played any games. Bam has been very disappointing. Just by the way, I did not have him as an all-star. I don't know if you did.
I did not.
Yeah, I didn't even have him as an honorable mention. Honestly, I probably should have, but I totally
It's tough
forgot
because
about
it is Bam, and we know the impact that he makes. But he also statistically has been disappointing this year. Yeah, I did not have Norman Powell as an all-star. I had him as an injury reserve, so I do believe he will be an all-star most likely. I did not have him in my top 13 guys, and that's just simply because I feel like to be an all-star, you have to do a little bit more than just score. Yeah, I'm not giving Cam Thomas an all-star nod. I'm not giving... Like Michael Porter Jr., yes, I highlighted him as a scorer, but he has also been a rebounder. He has been somewhat of a playmaker at times, and his scoring efficiency is absolutely insane. So for me...
But I'd
Norman
still
Powell-
say saying Cam Thomas is pretty disrespectful because Norman Powell was a better defender and playmaker.
Oh yeah,
on
I mean,
everything
Norman.
than
I'm
Cam
just saying,
Thomas.
I'm not giving it based off of scoring, and Norman Powell doesn't necessarily do things in the other categories for me to have him be top 13, top 15. Sure, yeah. Do I think he'll be an all-star? Probably. As a couple injuries pop up, I do. Yeah, I think Norman Powell will be playing in the all-star game. I just don't have him on my official top 13 guys. You know?
Okay, well, scoring is a very important thing, so I'll see who you have over him because I don't know.
So my next guy that I have up, and I believe that this guy has both also been, he's been overrated at times this year, and he's also been really underrated, and that's Josh Giddey. Josh Giddey is a hard guy to evaluate for, you know, sort of basketball impact and stuff like that because he's not a great defender, but he does do everything you could ask him to do on offense. He is a perfect modern point guard. He's averaging, I think it's 17 points, 9 assists, 9 rebounds a game. He's doing that fairly efficiently. You can say what you want about his style of play. You can say what you want about the way it looks, but at the end of the day, he's going to stuff the stat sheet. He's going to do what he can do to help your team win, especially in the role he's in with the Chicago Bulls. And I mean, you talk about a guy almost averaging a triple-double on good efficiency. I think that's an all-star.
I just disagree. Okay, so technically I had him as an injury reserve, so it's not the craziest thing ever, but I just think Norman Powell is a better basketball player. If you look at Josh Giddey, I mean, okay, personally, when it comes, they're both guards, Norman Powell and Josh Giddey. I just don't value rebounding in a guard. Maybe if you're getting a bunch of offensive rebounds like Russell Westbrook was, then maybe, but like his offensive rebounds per game, his rebounds per game is the highest it's ever been. His offensive rebounds is the lowest. So I just feel like, especially when I've been watching him, he's just getting open rebounds. That's not being too impactful. Giddey's more of a cone than Powell. I still have him as an honorable mention, so I will say the fact that he's brought this Bulls team to 500 when they should have been bad is actually a bad thing because they should be trying to get a good pick. But
Well,
for Josh Giddey's case, it is like good that he's been playing that good of basketball.
Yeah.
I disagree with you, but I'll talk about him a little bit. Yeah, because he was an honorable mention, or he was an injury replacement. But
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, yeah. So who's your next guy?
my next guy is going to be Pascal Siakam. I mean, he's an all-star caliber player every single year, and he's still doing his thing, 24 points per game. It is not Pascal's fault that the Indiana Pacers are 6-30. It is not. He's still a good defender. He's still rebounding. He's still playmaking. He doesn't have much good players to play make too without a Miles Turner or a Halliburton or anything, but he's still doing his thing. He's still consistent, and every Pacers fan should still love him and want him back for next year. And
Yeah.
it's Pascal Siakam. He's the same player every year. I have nothing else to say.
This
really.
this does tell us, though, I will say, with the Pacers this year. I also have Pascal Siakam as an all-star. He said everything that needs to be said. I just have him lower on my list because of the lack of team success. I mean, he's literally on the worst team in the league.
He is, but
so it's like I'll give him the all-star nod for sure. He's an all-star. But going forward, if Tyrese Halliburton puts up the numbers he's put up in every season, he should be an all-star every year because of how bad this Pacers team looks without him. Like, even just looking at a stat sheet, it looks all-star worthy. But then you look at the impact. I mean,
I will also say though, like it's not just Halliburton they're missing. They've been missing guys, and Miles Turner. Going from Miles Turner to Jay Huff is
Jay Huff's been playing good though, is the thing, and Miles Turner has not. So
I've always said that Miles Turner is overrated on defense, but still, the defensive gap is there. Like
It's
it is.
there, but it's not this difference. This is not a Miles Turner difference between being a finals team and being, what are they, 6-30?
No, it's a combination of the two. But we can move on.
Anyway.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
My next guy, you said Siakam. My next guy that we haven't said yet, another of the New York Knickerbockers, Karl Anthony Towns. Just kind of doing his thing. I don't have a ton to say about him. He is playing at an all-star level, as we kind of expect of him. 24, 11, like 40,
even that
48%. I think
He's 22, 12, and 3.
22, 12, and 3. So less points.
His efficiency has been down a little bit for this season. I think even a bad season from Cat is still an all-star season. I mean, outside of 1 year where I think he might have been hurt. Yeah, he played 29 games. He's been an all-star every single season. And the East, I'll be honest, these last couple players are so not good that even a down season from Cat, at least in my opinion, a down season, is still an all-star.
There's still a gap between Karl Anthony Towns and the few other guys that we have on this list. This is where you move from like definitely all-star to borderline all-star. So I'm interested to see who you have. I'm sure you're interested to see who I have. Karl Anthony Towns is an all-star.
My last spot, and I don't think it's because they're winning games. That has very little to do with it. Maybe a little bit to do with it, but that's it. I have Jalen Duren at my last spot. He has been putting up a career high 18 and 11. It is kind of treading downward as of the last month, but we're going based off the whole season. And throughout the whole season, through the first 2 months, it was like a lock that he was an all-star. And then slowly right now, he hasn't been as good, but still rebounding great. He's taken a step up in, taking these like 10-footers, 9-footers instead of just taking shots at the rim. He's shooting 63% from the field. He's not taking any threes, which can be a good thing. I mean, I understand. I like the idea of like a Bam Adebayo trying to stretch the floor, but if you're not efficient from there and you're only shooting 29%, maybe you just shouldn't even be taking that shot in general. Maybe it's a bad shot. So Duren's just doing what he's doing. Even though he's only averaging 2 assists, I feel like just watching him, his playmaking, passing, and shot creation have all gone up. And he's still anchoring a good defense. I'm not going to say he's the best defender on the team, but I mean, when you're the center of like a top 2, 3 defense in the league, that goes to show how good you are.
Yeah. No, I agree. I also have Jalen Duren. Would you mind making sure you have 13? Because I had 2 more when you said that. Now I have 1 more left. But yeah, Jalen Duren been good this year. We actually had a pretty heated conversation about him and one other guy before we started recording. And I think both of us kind of came a little bit more towards the middle.
Yeah, all of my players have been said.
All your players have been said. All right, I got one more guy. Now this is a guy who some people may not have as an all-star because, I already got one guy from his team on here. But shit, man, who else are you putting on an all-star team in the East? It's the notorious BI3, Brandon Ingram. And aside from having one of the coolest new nicknames in the NBA, he's been playing exactly how we kind of expect Brandon Ingram to play. 22 points per game, solid efficiency. It was really good to start the year. It's fallen down a little bit, but he's still shooting over 50% from the field. And yeah, he doesn't get a ton of rebounds, doesn't get a ton of assists, but he's a good scorer. He's doing a lot of the little things that they need for them to win. And when it comes right down to it, in the clutch, they are going to be going to Brandon Ingram more likely than not, and he's been coming through for him.
You have too many all-stars. You can't have Brandon Ingram.
I don't.
You have 9 reserves.
No, I have 8.
You have 9 reserves.
I'm stupid. All right, well, who am I taking off of here then?
You got
It's Brandon Ingram.
So Brandon Ingram's your reserve, and then Norman Powell didn't make it.
Yep. Brandon Ingram is a reserve, and I would move this guy that I've got right here, and I would put Brandon Ingram here, and I'd put Norman Powell there. So Brandon Ingram is my first reserve then. Hyped him up to hopefully be on the all-star team if someone gets hurt. But yeah, Brandon Ingram's my first reserve. Norman Powell's my other one.
That's good. So Brandon Ingram, yes, he has some playmaking capabilities. He can play a little bit of defense, but he's a scorer. Norman Powell's a scorer. Norman Powell has been better. Now I understand. Now looking at it, you have literally like a half spot in between them. But I just don't see how you don't give it to Norman Powell.
Because the Raptors been better than the Heat.
We're taking team success into
a little bit, yeah. A little bit, yeah.
Because I don't think it's been close how they've been playing.
There was lots of years where the number 1 seed. I mean, 2015 Hawks. Did they deserve to have 4 All-Stars based on their play? No. Did they deserve it based on how the team was performing? Yes.
I don't think they deserved. I don't think Kyle Korver deserved an All-Star spot.
Well, that's the.
And I-
pres-
and I
that was
mean-
the- that's. I mean.
And you do. You
But look, like I said, Norman Powell and the Brandon Ingram will probably both still be All-Stars anyway. But yeah, I don't think they're better than the other guys that I have listed above them.
All right, now let's move on to the West. I can't believe we only had one difference, and the only difference we had was an injury reserve difference.
I mean, yeah.
Oh wait, no. Besides, well, you had Josh Giddey.
Oh yeah,
as an
you had
actual
Josh Giddey as
All-Star.
a not All-Star, and
Yeah.
I had him decently high up. So I'd say that's
And then
a
you had
pretty
Norman
big
Powell's
difference.
not an All-Star.
Norman
but-
Powell's not an
But he was
All-Star.
my. Oh no, he was high up there. So yeah, I guess we had one big
So
difference.
you only had one reserve, and that was Giddey.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I had 2.